In today's video, I want to go over the biggest winners and losers of NFL free agency so far. Spoiler alert, I am a little biased, but we'll get into that later. Like and subscribe if you enjoy. It would be very much appreciated. Share the video with a friend. You know the routine. Without further ado, let's get into the player I'm showing currently, which is Kirk Cousins to the Falcons. I feel like you can't not have the Falcons as a huge winner free agency. Now, obviously, people have different opinions of Kirk Cousins, but the one thing that don't lie is them numbers. And the numbers I showed you to start this video is more than enough evidence to show you that while Kirk definitely needs to have more playoff success, and let me just say this as well. Like, I didn't like Kirk for a while. I honestly thought he was overrated for a while, but it's gotten to a point where Kirk is very underrated. Like, he's going to do a lot of great things for this Atlanta team, which is why this is a huge W for Atlanta. Like, you finally address the quarterback position, because we all know after Matt Ryan left, it's been bad. I like Marcus Mariota. I wanted him to be good, but he wasn't. Desmond Ridder, he was mid at best. They traded him for another player that I really like that they picked up, which is Rondale Moore. That is a really good pickup. Like, Moore was really good in college, mind you. I watched him tear my Ohio State Buckeyes up in that one game. Like, he played for Purdue. Pretty sure he played for Purdue. He tore us up. I'll never forget that. Like, Rondale Moore is really good. Mooney, I'm not the biggest fan of, but you had to get somebody because you lost Van Jefferson to the Steelers, and then you also lost one receiver that I can't think of right now, but they lost a couple of receivers, so you had to get somebody. I kind of get it, but Mooney's a slight overpay. But besides that, I would give the Falcons solid A for the offseason. Now, for the next team, I mean, we can't sit here and act like Saquon Barkley to the Eagles is just any kind of, you know what I mean? Like, bruh, y'all do realize the Eagles was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and now they've gotten better. Like, significantly better at the position that felt like it was good but not great with running back. So Barkley's a huge pickup for this team, as well as getting Bryce Huff, who was solid, if not very good, on the Jets, to be an edge to help Josh Sweat. Now, obviously, you're losing Kelsey and Fletcher Cox. That's going to hurt. But you're at least starting to lay the foundation down for pieces that's going to replace them. Devin White, getting Gardner Johnson back. You're improving that secondary. You probably end up drafting a corner as well, in my opinion, at least. And then they also just happened to trade for Kenny Pickett, which I thought was hilarious. But, I mean, I'm not, like, once again, I'm a Steelers fan, so I'm not the biggest hater of Kenny Pickett. I actually thought we were going to give him a chance, but at the end, we ended up trading him, and honestly, it's probably the best thing that ever happened to us, because as I'm about to get into, and I don't want to get into too much detail because I have a whole video coming out about it, but man, I mean, I was at work when the Justin Fields trade happened, and I kid you not, I'm literally jumping for joy. Like, I got my coworker looking at me crazy. I'm jumping for joy because I was so happy. Like, this is legit. I mean, went to Ohio State, was one of my favorite quarterbacks before he even went to Ohio State. I had just started figuring out about Justin Fields when he was at Georgia. Like, I am very excited about Justin Fields. Like, don't get it twisted. Getting Russell Wilson is a big, huge pickup for the Steelers. But getting Justin Fields is what really got me excited, man. I'm very excited to see what the Steelers do with Justin Fields as the backup, if not potential starter by the end of the season. It depends on how Russ plays. And also, I just thought about it. If I didn't say it, the Eagles definitely get an A, one of the biggest winners. Not sure if I mentioned it, but the Steelers cooked. Omar Khan absolutely cooked. Patrick Queen was the first domino to drop, and I was so excited because we all know, if you're a Steelers fan, like, linebacker has been an issue. We had a lot of injuries last year. I feel like the core itself wasn't that bad, but at the end of the day, it was injury prone, and it ended up hurting us, especially in the playoffs. So we addressed that position. Got a punter, not terrible. And honestly, I wasn't too surprised by the Deontay Johnson trade, because he is in the last year of his contract, and honestly, he's overpaid. I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't the biggest fan of Deontay. He had his moments, yes, but overall, I would rather not have him on my team, being a detriment to Pickens. Like, we already saw Pickens kind of acting up, and I don't think Deontay was helping, at least in terms of being a role model and trying to encourage him to kind of get his act together. You know what I mean? I don't think he was encouraging him much. So I ain't gonna go into too much about it. Probably already done talked too much, because like I said, I'm gonna drop a whole video about this. But I do want to talk about the Bears as well while we're here, because I'm a little conflicted with the Bears. By the way, Steelers are obviously getting an A+, by the way, just in terms of grade, just putting it out there. But the Bears traded for Keenan Allen, and that is a huge move to me, because I've been one of the biggest advocates for Keenan Allen over the years. One of my favorite receivers since he's been drafted. And once again, though, I still say I'm conflicted, because the Fields trade is definitely an L for the Bears, but at the same time, right, that makes them a loser in my eyes, at least, because you should have got more from him. You could have got more from him 1000% if you either just waited it out, or just straight up you should have traded him sooner. But when you also turn around and get DeAndre Swift on a decent contract, you swipe up Byard on a decent contract, you get Everett from the Chargers, I can't really call you a loser either, because you definitely improved this team for the presumptive #1 pick, Caleb Williams. I mean, Caleb Williams is walking into one of the better situations that you can walk into as a rookie. Like, Justin Herbert, which I'm gonna get into later, I mean, it's looking rough. Like, even when he got drafted, it was really Keenan Allen. Mike Williams is kind of injury prone or just underperforming at times. Like, Herbert walked into a good situation. That's the only situation I could think of that was like similar to this that Caleb Williams is going to walk into, because it is going to be exciting to see Keenan Allen cook in a Bears uniform with DJ Moore. But now we kind of have to get negative, right? I purposely put the losers at the end, and I think the Dolphins are huge losers, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Now, I'm not saying, right, that it was just completely negative, right? They did get Poyer, okay, decent vet. Aaron Brewer, the center, okay, you're replacing Connor Williams, right? Brooks and Walker, okay. Not terrible linebacker pickups, but to say that these pickups are better than what you lost is crazy. They definitely did not get better, in my opinion. Like, you lost Hunt to the Panthers. Connor Williams is a free agent coming off of that. I want to say he tore his ACL. I know he's coming off injury for sure. You lost Christian Wilkins, which is huge in my opinion. Like, yes, I probably wouldn't pay Wilkins $28 million myself, but you still have to replace him. And then you also lost Jerome Baker, solid linebacker, but obviously you replaced him. So I feel like the Dolphins is wait and see, especially with Tua, because y'all got a lot of contracts coming up, and Tua is going to be the main topic after that playoff performance, which was putrid in my opinion. But I'm not going to get too much into it, because that's going to be a video of itself as well. But overall, I do consider the Dolphins a loser. I'll give them probably like a C grade, C+ max. Then we got the Dallas Cowboys, who are definitely losers in my opinion, because even though they weren't as active, right, I feel like that's not even the issue, right? Not being as active in free agency, you really only signed Eric Kendricks. Okay, cool, right? No problemo. Problem is, one, you probably should have been a little bit more active, considering that you still haven't really improved your team to stop the run, right? And then more importantly, you got huge contract extensions coming out. You need to extend Dak, who's going to want his bread after that putrid playoff performance he had. You got CeeDee Lamb, who's going to be pushing $30 million when his contract come up. I mean, it's pretty much a race between him, Jefferson, and a couple of other receivers that I'm not thinking of right now. I think Chase hasn't gotten paid. All these receivers are waiting for one or the other to get paid so they can jump the other one in terms of yearly pay. So one see Jefferson get 30 million, the other one gonna want 31, you know what I mean? That type of deal. And then you still got to pay Parsons. So it's definitely gonna be interesting to see how the Cowboys play this out. Definitely big losers in my opinion, no higher than a C. And the another loser that I want to talk about was Justin Herbert himself, which is just, he lost all his skill position players. That's one I just had to bring up for the video. And like, Justin Herbert is also a huge loser in this, losing all those skill position players. Now, obviously, if they draft somebody, cool, perfect. Honorable mentions, I wanted to bring up the Commanders as losers. Signed a lot of old vets, Eckler, Wagner, Ertz. I didn't really understand what they were trying to do there. It felt like they were just signing old vets, you know what I mean? like 5 years ago they would have cooked, but I don't know. Looking a little sus. Terry might request a trade. I'm hoping he does come to the Steelers. Um, the Saints didn't really do much. Willie Gay Jr. and Chase Young, great, but after that, you lost Thomas, you lost May. Could have did a little bit more. I'm not too sure how I feel about the Saints right now. Might have to make a video about that one. And then the honorable mention winners to me is the Texans, for sure, for sure. Getting Mixon, you got what's his name, Hunter. You got the linebacker from the Titans. I really don't want to mispronounce his name, so I put it on the screen. You signed Okuda. You're definitely building this team around Stroud while you got the money and the resources to do so. Now you did have to replace Grenard and Cashman, which is exactly what they did. And once again, this team is definitely on the rise. So be on the lookout for the Texans. And then another honorable mention winner I wanted to bring up was the Green Bay Packers. Now, it's not even necessary that they signed a lot of people because they did lose their safety tandem, Savage and Owens. They lost Aaron Jones, but when you replace it with Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney, I mean, Josh Jacobs is still good, and McKinney's very underrated. So Green Bay is set up for tremendous success with Jordan Love at the helm, and I'm very excited to see how this team progresses next season with the additions of Jacobs and McKinney. Now, other signings I wanted to mention just in general was Derrick Henry to the Ravens. Obviously, as a fan, I'm not going to like the signing as an AFC North fan, but overall, this should help the Ravens get over the hump and improve next year and just be OP in the run game. And another signing I also wanted to talk about was Curtis Samuel to the Bills, as they had to replace Gabe Davis, as well as Stephon Diggs' future being up in the air. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see. But hopefully you enjoyed, and until next time.